It's a common thread in our human experience, this deep need for control. We constantly find ourselves trying to manage the world around us every day. This isn't just about the big, life-altering decisions we sometimes face with trepidation. It's also woven into the fabric of our small, seemingly insignificant daily actions we take. Consider how often we might recheck our work, seeking flawlessness, or meticulously plan out social interactions, hoping for a specific ideal outcome. This persistent urge to direct, to manage, and to predict is truly relentless for many of us. We operate under the strong assumption that this vigilance is what keeps us safe. It feels like an invisible shield, diligently protecting us from the chaos we deeply fear might otherwise engulf us. This constant management often seems utterly necessary for our perceived peace of mind. This powerful drive for control often stems from a very understandable place within us. We crave certainty in a world that frequently feels overwhelmingly uncertain and unpredictable. Life can be messy, throwing curveballs when we least expect them, and that inherent unpredictability can be genuinely scary to confront. So, we instinctively try to grab the reins, attempting to steer situations and outcomes. We believe that if we can just plan enough, anticipate enough, or work hard enough, we can dictate the results. This effort to control our environment, our relationships, and even our own feelings can provide a fleeting sense of comfort, a momentary illusion of stability in the face of the unknown. It's like building a temporary dam against a persistent river flow. Underneath this relentless pursuit of control, fear is very often the primary driver. It might be the fear of failure, the fear of making a mistake that could lead to shame. It could be the fear of judgment from others, the anxiety about what they might think or say about us. Or perhaps it's a more general, pervasive fear of the unknown, of what the future might hold if we don't keep a tight grip on everything. Control then appears to be the logical answer, the most effective strategy to ward off these potential pains and disappointments. We construct elaborate systems, routines, and expectations, believing these structures will protect us. But does this fortress of control truly shield us? Or does it sometimes become a prison of our own making, limiting our experiences and our growth? The truth is, this constant, often exhausting effort to maintain control is incredibly tiring. It demands a significant amount of our mental and emotional energy, day in and day out. More than that, it subtly but powerfully pulls us out of the present moment, the only place where life is actually happening. When our minds are consumed with planning for the future or replaying the past to see what we could have controlled, we are not truly here. We are not fully present with our loved ones, with our work, or even with ourselves. We end up missing the small joys, the subtle beauties, and the genuine connections that unfold in the now. This constant state of vigilance and management comes at a high price, often costing us the very peace and connection we seek. Let's be truly honest with ourselves for a moment. The concept of absolute control, especially over external events and other people, is largely an illusion. We can certainly influence things through our actions and choices. We can prepare, we can plan, and we can make intentional efforts towards desired goals. But the final outcomes, more often than not, they are not entirely ours to command or dictate. Life possesses its own unpredictable currents, its own unwritten script that unfolds regardless of our best-laid plans. There are too many variables, too many other wills, too many unforeseen circumstances. Believing we can orchestrate everything perfectly is like trying to conduct a storm. It's a beautiful idea, but ultimately futile against the forces of nature. Think about common, everyday experiences that highlight this lack of ultimate control. Consider the frustration of being stuck in an unexpected traffic jam when you have an important appointment. or the disappointment when a carefully planned outdoor event is rained out. We can also feel this when we try to control other people's feelings, decisions, or reactions, only to find they have their own agency. We can get so incredibly frustrated, sometimes even angry or despairing in these moments. Why does this happen? It's because we are bumping up against the reality that we cannot control everything. This ongoing, often unconscious fight against the uncontrollable nature of life creates an immense amount of internal stress and emotional friction, a heavy burden that we carry unnecessarily. This persistent striving for control, when it repeatedly meets the immovable object of reality, inevitably builds anxiety within us. It often creates a draining and unhelpful cycle. We feel a sense of worry or unease about a potential outcome. So we instinctively ramp up our efforts to control the situation, to manage every detail. When things don't go exactly as planned, which they often don't, our illusion of control is shattered, and this can lead to even more worry and anxiety. Our minds then race, trying to figure out what went wrong and how to control it better next time. Peace of mind feels increasingly distant, always just out of reach. This cycle is not a sustainable way to live. It depletes our resources and chips away at our joy. Ultimately, our overall well-being suffers profoundly under the strain of this constant battle for control. Imagine all the precious mental and emotional energy that is poured into this often impossible task, day after day. Think about what else could be done with that energy if it were freed up. It could be used for creativity, for connection, for learning, for simply experiencing the richness of life as it is. Instead, it gets consumed by worry, by micromanagement, by the tension of trying to force things into a predetermined mold. Control, while promising safety and order, often ends up stealing the very vitality and presence that make life meaningful. It subtly erodes our capacity for joy and our ability to be truly at ease in our own lives. Control doesn't always announce itself with grand gestures. It often wears many subtle disguises in our daily lives. Sometimes its presence is loud and obvious, like when we find ourselves micromanaging colleagues at work or family members at home, dictating every small step. Other times, its influence is quieter, more insidious. It can manifest as overthinking every minor decision until we become paralyzed by indecision, unable to move forward. It might show up as an unwillingness to deviate from a rigid schedule, even when flexibility would bring more ease or joy. Or it could be the constant need to know what others are doing or thinking. These are the quiet, creeping signs that our need for control might be taking over. The impact of these control behaviors on our relationships can be significant and often detrimental. When we consistently try to control the people around us, even with the best intentions, it can inadvertently breed feelings of resentment or frustration in them. They might feel untrusted, suffocated, or disempowered by our actions. Trust, which is the bedrock of healthy connection, can begin to erode under such pressure. Instead of fostering closeness and understanding, our attempts to manage others can create emotional distance and friction. We might long for deep, authentic connections, yet our controlling tendencies can paradoxically push people away, leaving us feeling more isolated. It's a painful irony that the very behaviors we think will secure our relationships can end up damaging them. Internally, the toll of excessive control is equally, if not more, taxing. It often creates a mind that never truly rests, a constant internal chatter of plans, worries, and what-ifs. We might find ourselves always calculating the next move, always on alert for potential problems, always rehashing past events to see what we could have done differently. This relentless mental activity makes it incredibly difficult to genuinely relax, to find moments of quiet stillness, or to simply be. Can we truly switch off and be present when our minds are perpetually in overdrive? Often the answer is a resounding no. This persistent internal hum of anxiety and vigilance is profoundly exhausting, systematically stealing our inner calm and peace. As a result of this internal and external focus on managing everything, we inevitably miss out on some of life's most precious experiences. We miss the beauty of spontaneity, the joy of unexpected discoveries, and the depth of genuine, unscripted human connection. Life constantly offers us small surprises, moments of grace, and opportunities for organic growth. However, if we are too busy trying to manage every detail, too focused on making things fit our preconceived notions of perfection, we may not even notice them. We are too preoccupied with our internal checklists and external orchestrations to fully engage with the richness of the present. Perfection, much like absolute control, is often another illusion that keeps us striving and dissatisfied, rather than appreciating what is. The good news is that there is another way to navigate life, a path that leads away from the exhausting struggle for control. This alternative path is paved with acceptance. Now, acceptance is often misunderstood. It isn't about giving up, becoming passive, or resigning ourselves to a negative fate. Instead, acceptance is about courageously and clearly seeing what is real in the present moment, without judgment or resistance. It's about acknowledging reality as it unfolds, both the good and the challenging, rather than constantly fighting against it or wishing it were different. It's about embracing the truth of our current circumstances, which is the necessary first step towards making wise choices about how to respond. A profound sense of peace and lightness often emerges from this intentional shift from control to acceptance. When we consciously decide to let go of the need to manage every outcome, when we stop fighting unwinnable battles against uncertainty, we can finally breathe again. A space opens up within us. We become more available to be fully present in this moment, right here, right now. And this present moment is, after all, the only place where life actually unfolds, where joy can be experienced, and where genuine connection happens. Choosing acceptance is choosing a gentler, more sustainable path, one that allows us to move with life's currents rather than constantly swimming against them. It is a practice that cultivates inner resilience and calm. So, how do we begin to walk this path of acceptance and presence? It starts with small, intentional steps practiced consistently. One simple yet powerful technique is to pause and take a deep breath, especially when you feel the urge to control rising. Notice your senses. What do you see around you right now? What sounds can you hear? What sensations do you feel in your body? Another key practice is to consciously shift your focus from trying to control external outcomes to managing your internal responses. You can choose your attitude, your actions, and your perspective. And importantly, practice self-compassion. This is a journey, and there will be times when old habits of control resurface. Be kind to yourself in those moments. Ultimately, this path of letting go offers a profound kind of freedom. It's a freedom from the constant grip of fear, from the relentless striving that control demands, and from the anxiety that accompanies it. As we practice acceptance, we begin to trust ourselves more, to trust our ability to handle whatever comes our way. We might even start to trust life a little bit more, recognizing that not everything needs to be managed by us to turn out okay. This allows us to live more fully, more vibrantly, and more authentically. The invitation is always there, to release the tight fist of control and open our hands to receive the fullness of life, right here, right now, in all its imperfect, unpredictable beauty. This is where true living begins.